and gentlemen, welcome in to another edition of Deportes Nation. I'm Alex Parra, and beside me, as you can see, is Houston Dash player. I consider her a friend. Let's find out if she thinks I'm a friend to her and her to me, Miss Cami Privett. First of all, Cami, good day. How are you, and how are you coping these days with COVID-19?
Well, first of all, we're definitely friends.
Okay, good. I was a little nervous. I wasn't sure.
Clear that up real quick. But COVID, yeah, I mean, it's a little different for me. I'm used to being out and about and very active and always busy. So it's a bit difficult to stay in one space for a long period of time.
Sure.
But I'm starting to get used to it, I guess. But it's still a process. It's a process.
It is. First of all, how's your health? How's your family's health? Everybody okay so far?
So far, everyone's doing well. Yeah, my parents live out in California along with my brothers, and they're all healthy. My grandma, all my grandparents are great. So good news.
Good news. Well, you're a Houston Dash player. You've been a professional player for many years. What's going on with the Dash in the NWSL? From what I understand, the league is still suspending training until early May, correct?
Correct, yes. I mean, obviously we want to take as many precautions as possible. No need to jump into anything too soon. It's kind of like an injury prevention.
Right.
I think they're kind of taking it that seriously as well. You don't want to jump into it and then cause any more damage than has already been done. So
how do you ladies communicate with coach, with the team? Is there a group messaging? Are you getting together on conference calls? How are you staying together as a team? It's just strange, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's odd for sure, but we do a lot of conference calls. So we do one or two every week. Typically, one is just for fun.
Right.
A lot of us don't know each other.
Sure.
So there's probably like 8 new players, and they don't know us. We don't know them. So it's more of like we did a bingo night.
Oh, did you win?
No.
Okay.
We played 5 rounds, and I'm not lucky. I'm not going to Vegas anytime soon. Well, I don't think anyone's going to Vegas anytime soon.
You have a point there. So then you get to know each other, have fun, and then is Coach James kind of letting you know how to stay in shape? Is the team sending you not drills necessarily, but at least conditioning?
Yeah, we definitely get conditioning. It's just tough to find locations to do it. So right now we're all in our apartment complexes. We kind of go up to the roof of the parking garage, and that's where we are running. So we use the lines of the parking.
So if I had a helicopter flying over Houston, I could catch you training.
Yeah.
That's a safe way to do it, I guess, huh?
Typically at noon, but yeah, you've already passed your time to record us.
So what happens then with preparations? I guess everything, like most of our lives right now, are on a holding pattern until we're actually able to get together on the field. For you players, get back on the field. Have they kind of told you we may start with 5 players before we can get into bigger groups? Has that been discussed yet?
It's been discussed amongst the league, but it hasn't been released to us yet. So we still can't train in small groups. It's pretty much just individual or with your roommate. So the person that you see every single day.
Sure.
If one person's affected, you're both affected, kind of thing. So that hasn't been released yet, but we're hoping soon that in phase 2 we'll be able to.
In many sports, Cami, I know that the MLS, I know that leagues like the NBA, the NFL, even Major League Baseball, they're thinking about a phasing back into what may be our new normal, which means that matches may be played without having any attendance at all. Have you guys talked about that? And if that is a logical step, how would you feel about starting up again that way?
I mean, I'm a little indifferent towards it. It honestly probably wouldn't be that much of a difference for the players because with an NWSL, we really don't get that big of a showing.
That's a way to look at it.
So it's kind of like, I mean, it's not like we're going from a packed out stadium to like listening to crickets.
Sure.
But it'll definitely affect the league, not being able to have people there and that profit, I guess. I'm not sure if it's been discussed. It hasn't been brought to our attention yet. about that process, but.
Sure. How about the league itself, the NWSL? A lot was expected this year in many ways with the energy that the league continues to build. I think it's disappointing. We look at some leagues, a league I was involved with, the XFL, that was going to challenge the NFL. They started, went 5 games, and now they're bankrupt. My point is, it's the business environment also affects a lot of these things, and I don't want to be negative, but I hope the league is strong enough to start and to sustain itself and to flourish.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that now, since we're so deep into the NWSL, that we do have a strong enough commitment from owners and boosters, I guess, and
sponsors. Yeah.
And sponsors, anyone really, everyone's pretty committed within the NWSL. So I don't see it necessarily folding. It could. I'm not saying it's not going to. It's
Sure.
always a possibility. But I personally think that it'll be okay. Obviously, it's a tough time.
Sure.
But I also think that once we do come back, everyone's going to be hungry for it. They're going to be more hungry for it than they were before. And I think we'll actually see more people showing up than we did previously.
I agree. I agree.
Good to go.
Your audio cut out. Say that last part again, please.
Once everything's cured and good to go, and we can have large numbers in like spaces.
Sure. And getting back to a normal way of doing things. Cami, what have you learned during this time? I know a lot of us reflect back, and I've said this a couple of times, but now I'm having more dinner with my family. I didn't realize I had so many kids and 2 wives. Everyone shows up for dinner. So I had no idea. But what have you learned during this process? I guess we all are learning things.
I was never like super cautious about touching things that I wasn't familiar with, and my face. I've always had a really bad habit about like touching my eyes, and so I think I'm like super aware of it, and now I'm just like, no. One of those. And I mean, I got a puppy, so that is a learning process in itself.
Maybe some breaking news here for NWSL and Cami Privett fans. What is your puppy's name, and tell us about the puppy?
So her name is Roxy. Okay. She is what they think to be German Shepherd Rottweiler. Ooh. So she's gonna be a big girl.
There you go. How big will she get? Like 80 pounds?
Size. I don't think 80. I think she'll probably be around 65. Okay. I think she'll be medium size. Her paws aren't too big.
Yeah, well, if she trains like Cami Privett, she should be in shape, no problem.
If she eats like me, she'll be big.
What do you miss most right now from your NWSL career? Is it the camaraderie? Is it the other ladies on the team? Is it the games? Is it the fans? Is it all of it?
It's all of it for sure. I mean, just the atmosphere, like showing up for game day and like waking up, going through your routine, even just like the competition of every day at practice, seeing the girls. We're all best friends. Sure. Well, not all, you know what I mean? Like we all get along well. It's nice to have a change of scenery other than your bedroom. So just like normal things.
Absolutely. A couple of things just to have fun. Have you caught some new TV shows or movies that maybe you wouldn't have seen otherwise? Is there something that you're now watching regularly that maybe you never even would have stumbled upon?
Oh, you're opening a can of worms on this one.
Go for it.
Oh my goodness. I don't even speak the language, but Casa de Papel all the way. I honestly don't understand how the translation from Casa de Papel is money heist. That makes no sense to me.
Papel, money, I get, maybe, right.
House of paper,
Printing.
That's pretty much what they're saying.
Yeah, maybe there's not a lot of logic there. I get that. What about as far as when you think this might be over? Have you in your mind calculated when this might end and how it would end? All of us speculate that, I'm sure, every day.
Yeah, right now they're saying for us to be May-ish, but that's also changed 3 times. So we're preparing for the date that they give us, and if it gets pushed back, it gets pushed back, but you have to prepare for that date that they give you. Regardless of if you think it's going to be in 2 more months or not, like you have to be prepared for that date that training session. So it's tough. It's very tough.
I bet. We're with us here on the Porthos Nation, Cami Privett, Houston Dash player, part of the NWSL, professional soccer player. She's also a soccer coach, a trainer. How is your licensing going, Cami? I know that you've been working really hard, and the U.S. Soccer Federation has been supporting a lot of players to advance themselves, to get their licenses, and become more formally trained in being coaches.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, we were given a very good opportunity within the NWSL to get our coaching license. They gave 20 players the opportunity to go and get their C license.
Wow.
And I had to do it, obviously, because I'm a club coach, like you said, SG1 all the way. But yeah, it was very difficult. I was surprised because as a professional player, we kind of, I guess, think highly of ourselves when it comes to the knowledge of the game and the strategies. And then you go to get your C license and you're like, I'm not as smart about soccer as I thought I was. So they really test you and they make you like question a lot of things, which is good because then you see it in a different perspective. And hopefully they've mentioned it that they might be able to also be able to give us opportunity to get our B license. So
is your goal one day, forgive me for interrupting you, Cami, is your goal one day to get your A license? And I don't want to get ahead of myself. I still want you to play for many, many years, but one day be what kind of coach, what level would you like to reach?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I plan to get my professionals license because might as well. I mean, one of the things they kind of told us was you should always be wanting to grow in whatever direction you go. So, I mean, I honestly find a passion in coaching. So I think that would be the route. And I am like excited for every course to come about. So I think once I get my B, once I get my A, I'll probably end up getting my professionals, or at least trying to a couple times. I don't know how many times that I can try, but I'll try.
What is the most challenging part of taking your courses? When I took my courses back in the day, number one, it was completely male-oriented and dominated. Second, there was less structure. And again, I go back to my licensing days in the late 80s, early 90s. It was more of, hey, you show up, you interchange ideas, or I'll be honest with you, you follow the lead of the course director, the professor, the teacher, the coach, and you follow what he or she may want to do, even though you may not agree with it. There was little room for debate, and that's one of the things I think, in my personal opinion, has to change. There are different ways to play this game, and actually, there are very simple ways to play this game. I think sometimes we complicate it too much.
Absolutely. I mean, for us, obviously coaching is majority male, but for us it was all female. So our instructors were all female, and obviously it was all WSL players, so it was all women. So that part of it was good. I didn't feel like it was anybody looked down on me or anything like that. But I definitely think that what they do within the license is they show you an ideology and a way that they do it, U.S. Soccer. And I don't necessarily think that they're saying like this is the way to do it 100% every single time, but it is different. So they come up with these new ways and new ideologies just to make you think, and that's what our instructor was doing all the time. She was like making you like second guess yourself, which is good. I honestly like it. Some people might not like it, but I think that was the hardest part for me, is taking criticism. And I'm like already a coach, so I'm like, well, it's worked in the past. And she's like, yeah, but I mean, that might have worked, but you should also look at it this way. But yeah, I think there's multiple ways of doing it. It's a gray area.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things I've learned from good coaches is not only their formal training, their classroom training, their ability to have drills, but it's their in-game thinking and making adjustments. That, to me, defines a really good coach. How is that emphasized lately? And I guess I need to go back to some of my courses, but that's the biggest thing I can see. And maybe that's the part of second guessing yourself, so that you're really thinking through the different scenarios.
Yeah, that's still normal in the licenses, like thinking on your feet and changing on the fly. That's, for me, probably one of my toughest like obstacles I need to get over as a coach, because you have this mindset where you're like, okay, we've worked on this at practice, we've done this, and it might not pan out, or they might change their formation. Who knows? I've had formation changes at halftime in a '08 game where they're 11 years old.
Sure.
So, I mean, it happens at all ages. You don't think it will happen, but it does. So I definitely agree with you. It's so hard for me.
No, it's okay. Well, but look, I think the key, Cami, and this is my opinion, is experience, is time. Eventually, by playing, you have one perspective. Coaching, you have a different perspective. A fan, someone watching in the stands, and we live for fans, have a different perspective. And also, there's an emotional attachment. I think the best coaches, in my opinion, tend to be less emotional. This is my opinion, and more calculated about what they're doing. They know when to scream and shout, but often that's the drama part they don't want to shouldn't get too involved with. But that's my opinion. We're talking with Cami Privett, Houston Dash player. It's an honor to be with you. Cami, in general terms, how is the women's game progressing? I know that the Olympics were postponed this year. That would have been a big boost, I think, to women's soccer, to U.S. women's soccer. But how do you think, since you've started back in your California playing days, has the business of women's soccer improved?
I mean, I just think that people are more aware of women's soccer. Like billboards, we're on billboards. We may not be our own billboard, but at least we're on like the Dash Dynamo Dash. We're one. And I think that is a huge step just because we always kind of felt like the ugly stepsister, ugly stepchild, or whatever it is from Cinderella. So now I think we're a little bit more cohesive, and that goes across the board with all of the NWSL teams. Really, I think it helps that we are part of the men's side, the MLS, because some teams aren't. So that gives us a step up. But overall, NWSL has made massive strides just within marketing and bringing it aware to everyday people.
Sure, and I hope it continues. I think another important part of the success of any league, of any sport, are the fans, right, Cami? And you see young ladies, and you coach young ladies, and one day those young ladies will be in your place. I think that's the legacy that we have to keep building for the women's sport. What message do you have for those young ladies that are watching you now, and one day, number one, they want to get out of the house and start playing, and number two, they want to be wearing that Dash jersey just like you have on now?
I mean, go for it. If it's honestly something that you love to do and you want to do it and you spend every single day desiring to go out and be better, then I say go for it all the way. If what I've always done as a player is, if I was a bottom tier player and I worked my way all the way up to the top where I was in a starting position, and then I felt like I wasn't necessarily being challenged, that's when I had to make the tough decision. Okay, like, do I want to stay with my friends, which is always fun, or do I want to be a professional soccer player? So that's always like a very tough decision. And for me personally, I think that was the biggest decision for me to grow and get to the place where I am now. So, I mean, if you want to do that, all for it. I'm with every single girl out there. I'm like, you got it. But if you're there for the fun, then just enjoy it. Don't push yourself and then burn yourself out on the game, because the game's amazing regardless, whether you are at the top level or at a fun level.
Great advice, young lady. And I agree with you. Whether you're 5 years old or 50 years old like this guy, we should be able to enjoy the game, play it. I'm going to get into this walking soccer. Apparently that's a thing now, so maybe I'll get into it. The other thing, Cami, that I know has come up lately is through this COVID-19, it's not only staying strong and healthy physically, but mentally and emotionally. I know a lot of us are stressed. A lot of us are going through ups and downs emotionally. What advice do you have for any of us, all of us, about trying to take a breath, take it easy, maybe even meditate until this is over?
Well, something that's just been working for me is opening up a window. It sounds so simple.
Wow.
But like, open your windows up, because when you're in like a really small box for a long period of time, it's like a puppy, like a dog, and they're at or at a zoo. Like if you're in a cage, like you're not going to enjoy yourself. If you open up, get some fresh air, relax a little bit, and get off your phones. I think that's a big one. Read
no more
a book.
phones. No more phones. Can you see my font? Cami?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I'm sure your phone is just
I know.
off the all the time.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna stop doing that. But continue with your advice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just stay off your phone. I mean, do something that you wouldn't do normally. You have the time to do it. Maybe you're gonna find a new hobby that you didn't think you would enjoy before. I've been getting into coloring and doodling.
Wow.
I'm not good at it, but do I enjoy it?
Doesn't
Yes.
matter, right?
Sometimes I have this idea, and it turns out nothing close to it, but it's cool. So there you go.
Great advice from Ms. Cami Privett. Cami, we can't thank you enough for spending some time with us today. I know it's in this part of the world, it's a rainy day, and most of us are, I think, ready for what may be next. We have to be cautious. We have to make sure our health, physical and mental, and our well-being is the priority. And then hopefully very, very soon, we'll be able to see you back on the field representing not only the Houston Dash and the NWSL, but women's soccer in this country. So from all of us, thank you very much for being with us. Any last messages to all your fans that may be watching today?
I can't wait to get out on the field and see everyone. It's been a while. And I know a lot of people out there that are just dying to get out there, and we're the same. So I'm excited to get out there and make those connections again.
And we are excited to see you back on the field very, very soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I want to thank my guest, Cami Privett, over here. Yes, I don't know how that works. The magic of whatever this is these days, but we thank her for being with us. We're very proud of her, honored to have her on the show, and I'm sure we'll be seeing and talking to her in the near future. From all of us at Deportes Nation, including Ms. Cami Privett, thank you. Until next time.
Thanks.